the PowerPoint that's going to be available to you guys after the presentation, and it is more for your reference afterward than for right now. We're actually going to be looking at Sedona itself, but some of the things that are a little bit more detailed that we're going to talk about, I put slides in here about them so that you can reference them and see some examples if you have questions in the future about it. So we're just going to go over how to create inspection records, how to generate tickets from them, the different ways that you can bill them, when they're generated, and also inspection reports. So I'm going to pop over to Sedona so that we can get started looking at that. And inspections, of course, I think everybody knows this, but inspections are, of course, you have perhaps a fire inspection or something like that that you have to do monthly for a customer, and you want a way for Sedona to remind you that you have to do that inspection, auto-generate the ticket for you, rather than you having to remember when all of your customers are due. So that's what this does. So right here I have an average customer, and I have, if I open up this system here, I have inspections here under the system already set up. We're going to look at these. I'll point out that if you right-click on inspections, you can hit create new inspection, and it'll pop up with the form for you to be able to do that. If you click on inspections here, this is under the site, and inspections here is under the system. If you click on it here under the site and you right click, nothing's going to happen because inspections must be on a specific system. So if you're right clicking and nothing's going on, just go underneath the system and do it there. So here we have 3 inspections on this system that I already kind of set up just to make this easier for us. So let's go into one of them right now. I'm going to go over all the fields in this entire thing, tell you what they all mean. So this is the inspection record. This is the thing that you set up to tell the system, I want to do this inspection monthly or annually or something like that. Remind me to do this inspection. So that's what this is. So the description can be anything that you need it to be. That's just to remind you what you're inspecting. The frequency, be monthly, annual, semi-annual. We got a ton in here, whatever your needs are. Up at the top, you have by request only. In that case, the inspection won't pop up unless you come in and tell it to. Below that, your problem code. You'll probably want to create special problem codes specifically for inspections. So in this example, we have some labeled INSP, that's short for inspection, and then the different things that we might inspect. Service level. Again, here, you'll probably want to, I think we have some, yep. INSP, again, it stands for inspection. You'll probably want to create some service levels like this that are for inspection specifically. So with the service problem code and the service level, I'm sure you're all familiar with these. These are associated with your service ticket, and you already have them set up for your regular service tickets. But in this case, we want special ones for the inspections because your inspections probably have special rules. For example, you may not bill your inspections the same way that you do regular tickets. Maybe you have special rates or maybe you have a flat rate. So you'll want to set up a special service problem code, special service level that you can use just with your inspection records. Another important thing about setting up a special service level is this RMR link here. That's determined on the service level, and let's pop out and I'll show you where that's at. So what the RMR link does is it makes it so that your inspection record is tied to a recurring line on that customer, and then that recurring line will not bill until the inspection is finished. So that can be helpful in a couple of ways. It can be helpful if the recurring line is meant to represent the charge for the inspection. Or maybe it's not. Maybe that recurring line is simply your monitoring and you're going to bill your inspection a different amount, but you don't want to send your customer 2 bills in the same month. You just want to include it all on the same bill. That might be another reason to tie it to the recurring. So the way that you do that, I'm here in setup under service levels, and I've picked my service level here, and you'll see it's got this inspection tab. If I go there, the only thing there is the RMR link. So if you check this box, when you assign that service level to an inspection record, it will require you to tie it to a recurring line. If you don't check the box, you don't tie it to a recurring line. So we'll go back into our inspection. We picked our service problem code, our service level. Next is our service company. If I hit this drop down, you'll notice I just get JD Enterprises. I don't get anything else. If I come out to the system, the reason it's not giving me any other options is because I have a primary service company assigned to this system. So I can only pick that company. Let's say you have a primary, but you want to use somebody different. No problem. Just hit the search box. You can pick anybody you need to. Last inspection date, if you are just setting up this inspection, it doesn't have a last inspection date. You'll leave that field blank. The system will automatically update that date as soon as a ticket closes. So we're going to have our first inspection here in June. As soon as the June ticket closes, this last inspection date will populate. And so on, you know, when the July one closes, it'll update itself automatically. You don't have to worry about it. Same with the next inspection date. This date will also automatically update. And this date is important because this date determines when you can create the next inspection. So if I go out and try to create an inspection ticket for this record, if I tried to create the inspection ticket as of 5/31, it won't let me do it because the next inspection date isn't until 6/1. But if I try to create it as of 6/1 or as of 6/2, in both those cases, it will let me create it because this date has passed, the 6/1 date. Now, when this updates to 7/1, I will be able to create the July ticket. When it updates to 7/1 is therefore important. Do I want it to immediately update to 7/1 as soon as I create the ticket? In that case, I'll be able to create the July ticket whenever I want to. Or do I not want to create the July ticket as long as the June ticket hasn't been finished yet? In that case, I might not want this date to update right away because then the next ticket could be created while they're still working on the old one. So that's what this next inspection at field is. It works closely with the next inspection date field, and what it allows you to say is when this date will update. Now, it doesn't control what this date updates to. This is a monthly inspection scheduled for 6/1. So when this date updates, it will update to 7/1. Nothing you pick here will change that, but this controls when it updates to 7/1. So I wanted to show you, that's one of our slides in here. You've got a quick little cheat sheet on the different ways that you can update the next inspection date. So you can do it when the ticket's created, when it's resolved, when an appointment is scheduled for it, or when the ticket's closed. Below that is the recurring item that you are linking the inspection to. And this only appears because if you'll notice, this service level that we've selected has a Y for yes for the RMR link. So in the setup table, the RMR link checkbox has been checked for this service level. So this is popping up and it's letting me pick my recurring line. So if you don't have your recurring line set up yet, you'll need to go set that up before you can link it here. And then this cycle amount defaults in. If my service level was not set to link to RMR, as this one is not, you'll notice those fields don't even appear. So if they're not there, it doesn't mean that it's broken. It just means that your service level isn't set to link to RMR. Over here on the right side, we've got some defaults going on. That's what the service tech is. This is going to fall in on the front of the ticket. So if you're familiar with service tickets, there's a technician field on the front of them. That's going to automatically populate with whatever you put in here. You don't have to put anything in here. If you don't know what inspection is going to be doing this, or what inspector is going to be doing this next month, then no reason to enter a name. But if you typically have the same person, you could put their name in there. This group number is for inspections that are on the same site. So the inspections can be on the same system, but they don't have to be. They can be on different systems as long as the site is the same. So as long as the site is the same, you can group the inspection records together, and then that allows you to schedule them together and invoice them together. Now, you don't have to schedule them together. They can be part of the same group, but you can then schedule them separately if you like. That's an option that you have. But if you group them, they must be billed together. So this is for use in cases, let's say you have one site, it's got buildings A, B, C, and you're going out and you're going to inspect all the buildings, but it's one general manager, they're all in the same area, and you don't want to give this guy 3 different invoices. You would group the 3 inspections together and then invoice them all together. And I'll show you what that looks like when we create the actual inspection tickets. But the group number 0 means no group. So you can have as many in group number 0 as you want. They're all going to be separate. But if you'll notice, these two right here have a group number 1. So they're going to pop up grouped together when we create the tickets. Below that, estimated hours, how long it's going to take to complete. If your tickets are grouped, those will be added together on the ticket. It actually shows up as minutes on the front of the ticket. It shows up in the estimated minutes field. Then this high frequency bypass and exclude from high frequency check, those two are both with reference to grouped tickets only. So what it means is, let's look at our grouped ones again. These two are both in group 1. One of them's monthly and one of them's annual. Now it could be that I need both of these tickets. They are for the same system, they're for the same date, June 1st, but in some way they are different, they need to be done separately, so I'm going to make sure that it creates both tickets. But it could be that they have an annual inspection. It's a little more detailed than just their monthly one, but I'm not doing, it's basically the same thing. I'm not doing 2 different inspections right now. It's just that they both happen to be due at the same time. So I don't need 2 different tickets for these. If that's the case, then you can check the box for high frequency bypass. And what that does is it tells the system, I don't need all the tickets if they're for the same system and they're for the same month. Don't give me all of them, just give me one. So it'll pick the one that's less frequent. So in this case, if you were to check that box, there's a monthly and an annual due at the same time, it would select only one of those, just the annual would be the only one that would get a ticket. And then if you click the exclude from high frequency check, of course, it's going to get its own ticket no matter what. Then below that, we have the route code, and this populates on the front of the ticket. It doesn't tie to anything. It's just for people who reference the route code when they do their scheduling. It defaults in on the front of the ticket. And then whatever notes you put here, those are going to pop up in the notes section of the ticket when it generates. This is 255 characters, by the way. And this inspection item section. So this is another way that you can bill your inspections. We talked earlier, one of the ways you can bill is by linking it to RMR. Of course, remember, just because you link it to RMR doesn't mean that RMR has to represent your billing, but it can. And then also you can enter an item here. So whatever you put in this inspection item, that's the item that's going to appear on the invoice. And then it'll pull in at whatever amount you put. And if the rate changes over time, you can always come in and change this. But what this does is throws this amount onto the ticket automatically as an other charge. And companies who use this typically do it where they have just a flat rate that they always bill. They don't bill for anything else. They just bill for this charge. Third way that you could bill your ticket is time and material. Just like a regular service ticket, you can bill it for individual parts, you know, the different hours of labor. And none of these 3 ways of billing are mutually exclusive. If I wanted to tie this inspection ticket to a recurring line and enter an inspection item amount and bill for some special parts individually, I can do all of that. So it's mix and match at will. And that is another slide on your PowerPoint there, the different ways that you can bill and the fact that you can do them all at the same time if you would like to. So that's it for the front of the inspection. The next tab is equipment. Here you're simply listing the equipment that's being inspected. This drop-down list pulls from, and I'll show you here. I'm on this system. If I go to equipment on this system, this is the equipment that is listed on this customer system, and that's the equipment that I have to choose from when I'm selecting what equipment we're inspecting. It doesn't do anything special other than that. It just lists it out for your reference. Now, inspection items does something cool. I can hit new here on the inspection item. I can select one of these items, and these are set up in your setup tables. You get to say what they are. So let's say there was a smoke detector that needed to be inspected. I could put down here instructions for how we, as a company, how we inspect smoke detectors, or special safety warnings for when inspecting smoke detectors, or maybe this particular business that we're going to inspect has some special things going on that the inspector needs to be aware of before they go out there. You can put all of that stuff down here and save, and you can add many of them, however many you need to. And then when you're done, the cool thing is you can hit print. And then send that out with your inspectors when they go to do the inspection. The last tab on here is reports. This is a newish feature that we added for use with the FSU, and I'm actually going to bop back to the PowerPoint. You've got a couple of slides on reports. So the first one highlights what inspection reports do and what they don't do. So they allow you to save templates to the record, and then that template is automatically added to any inspection ticket that gets created. And the technicians can automatically see those reports on their FSU. They can download them and they can edit them in a third-party app if they want to, and then they can re-upload them to the ticket. But what they don't do is allow technicians to save them back as the same document. So they can download them, they can edit them in a third-party app, but then when they save it back, it's not being saved as the same document, it's being saved as a new document. And then that new document does show up as a report on the inspection record, but it doesn't automatically show up as a template. And templates are the things that automatically generate on tickets. So if you want what the technician saved to show up on the next ticket, you have to go in and save it as a template. And we'll walk through that. So if we bop back here, and I've got for you, the next slide is also about inspection reports, and I've laid out for you step by step how to add them, because there's just a lot of buttons in there. So it all makes sense, but it's a lot to memorize. So I've laid it all out for you. You guys can reference it here, how to add these things. That's what we're going to do right now. So here's the template section below. Anything listed here is going to generate on inspection tickets. And then the report section above, this lists things that have already been generated on tickets or things that technicians have added to tickets. So if I want to add a new template, I'm going to hit Manage, and then I'm going to hit New, and then browse for my template. And I don't have a good template here. We'll just use a test document, and then hit OK. Now you'll notice my test document did not appear here under templates. Nothing changed here. And that's because what I just did, added it as a template to Sedona in general, not to the specific inspection record. So now I can go to other inspection records and say, I want to use that template that I just added here. So that's what I have to do if I want to actually add that inspection to this record. I have to actually add it. So we're going to hit Add and select the template that we just created, and I think it was this one. And then we'll hit Add again in the smaller window, and then OK. And it pops up there. So when we create this ticket, both of these are going to appear under the document section, a little section called Reports. All right, so that's inspections top to bottom there, the creation of the record. So now let's go out and actually look at how these tickets get created. So this is the service module. Most of you are probably familiar with looking at it in the day view, which is what we're in now, or perhaps the ticket queue view. And I only point that out because you have a lot of options up here at the top. And I just wanted to highlight that we are in the View tab right now. Right here on the View tab, this magnifying glass is Inspection Creation. So I'm going to go there. And this is where it pulls the inspection records that are ready to have tickets created for them. So if I were to say, I want to see all inspections as of 5/31, like I said, we don't get our inspections that we were looking at because they're not ready as of 5/31. But if we look as of 6/1, they appear, and it's these three right here. So you can filter more if you'd like. That's what the rest of these are for, if you want to filter by service company or route. For example, if I filter by system type, then just actually a couple customers pop up. But that's what these are for if you want to filter. But we found ours pretty easy. There weren't too many of them. And then once you've selected the ones that you want, you hit create tickets. And you can select everything if you want. If I wanted to, I can hit this button at the top and just everything down the line will get created. Or if I don't want to select everything, I can select them individually and hit create tickets. So it pops up, it gives you, before it commits that to Stone, it gives you a window, hey, these are the tickets that you said you wanted to create. Is this good? And you say, yes, create them. Now you'll notice it didn't pop me out to actually looking at those tickets. I'm still in the inspection creation queue. I have to actually go back to the ticket queue to view the ones that we just made. Now this session really isn't about the different ways that you can manage the queue, but I'm going to go through a couple of them just to highlight something special about inspection tickets. So you can control what columns you view in the queue, and you can drag a column up to group by that column or drag it down to not group by it. Up here at the top, if I'm in ticket queue, you'll see I get this queue tab. I'm going to go there. You have other options here as well. You can only look at tickets that have appointments, only tickets that don't have appointments, and so on. I'm going to look at all the open tickets. But the thing that I really wanted to highlight for you is this inspection vendor and non. This, I have it selected to look at all of my inspection tickets, whether they are vendor or non. You may have yours set to look at only service or maybe all. So if you pop out to the queue and you don't immediately see your inspection tickets, could be that maybe you're filtering on a field here, or could be that you're looking only at your service. So I would do, just to make things easier, I would do inspection vendor and non. And what vendor and non means, the inspection tickets can be for a service company that represents your company, in which case it's just a regular inspection ticket. Or it could be listed under a vendor service company. That's all it means. So if yours is a vendor inspection ticket, it's got a service company, it's a vendor service company. That's what the vendor and non refer to. I'm going to click on vendor and non so I get both. And then I'm going to sort by the created column so I can see the ones that we just created. And here they are. So let's go into one of these to see the things that pulled over from our inspection record. So you can see at the bottom, it says vendor inspection. If this service company were not a vendor service company, it would just say inspection. And that's how you can tell the difference between these tickets and regular service tickets. Regular service tickets either say nothing down here or they might say vendor, but that's how you can tell it's an inspection ticket because it says inspection. This is all the information from my system. The service company, service level pulled in from the inspection record. The problem pulled in from there, the route code. Here's my estimated hours turned into minutes there. And then if you have a default technician, this is a vendor, so it automatically defaults the vendor in there, but that pulls over as well. Other things that pull over, if we look over here, they're the reports that we added. So we added them as templates. Now they've been added to the ticket. Now they are inspection reports, and they have their own little section down here. When your technicians edit them and resave them, they have the option to save them as a regular document or as an inspection report. Very quickly, let's go back out to the record to see what this looks like. Oh, this wasn't the same record. Which one were we in? There we go. So this is where we added the templates, and you'll see now they appear in both places. They appear as templates, which means they will generate on the next ticket if we don't do anything, if we just leave them there. They also appear as reports because they've already been added to a ticket, and it tells you the date that they were added. If your technician adds a new document, if he downloads one of these and edits it, saves it back, it will also appear up here in the top section. So if you want the next ticket to generate with what your technician edited and not the original, then you'd want to come in here and remove the original, and then the one that they added, save that and re-upload it as a new template. Other things that have pulled in, here we have a note that pulled in from our notes section on the front of the inspection record. And other items, here we have our other item that pulled in. This is the, we'll bop back just to show you, this is down here, the other item that we added. So if you want to bill that flat rate, you just wanted to always bill that every single time. This is exactly what it does, is it throws it on as an other item. So if you just want to bill that, you might want to create an inspection service level where everything is not billable except other items, and then it'll just bill for that one. The last thing I want to show you is this group ticketing. Last thing I want to show you on tickets is this group ticketing section, and we are actually, it looks like, not in one of the group tickets. Let's find, there we go. So here we have, this is ticket 4941, and it is in a group with ticket 4940. So these are the two tickets that we grouped on the record. We had one that was in group 0, it's all by itself, and then two that were in group 1. So they're grouped right here. Now you'll notice there's another ticket down here, 4942. That's our other one. That's because it's on the same system there, so it's letting us know, hey, this is on the same system. Actually, it can be on the same site, and it'll still appear down here. This is on the same site. If you want to group it, you still can. So if you forgot to group a couple of inspections before you created them, you can always say, yeah, I do want those to be together. Or maybe you grouped them and you realize, oh, wait, for some reason we need to bill these separately. We can't have them going out in the same bill. Just highlight it and remove it from the group. Now, group ticketing is something that has to be turned on by SedonaOffice. So if this is sounding good to you, it's something you want to do, and you go back and you try it and you're not getting this tab here, contact Sedona. That's something we actually have to turn on. You also have the option here to dispatch, and here you can create, you guys are all familiar with creating appointments. It works the same in here. You just hit add, and then you can schedule, well, this is pulled up on unassigned, but if we picked one, there we go. And then you can schedule your technicians as needed. And then this will pop up and you can dispatch them here, just like normal. You don't have to do it here. You can schedule them through here as well. But, you know, the benefit of group ticketing is that if you're sending them all out at the same time, you don't have to go into 2 different tickets or 3 different tickets or 4 different tickets. You can just dispatch them all at once and be done with it. You can also resolve them individually if you want, or resolve them all at once here with this button. Now, like I said earlier, when you go to invoice, you may not invoice them individually. Here you have the option, here you do not. You must invoice them together, and it's going to invoice and close them at the same time. It'll grab all of the charges from all of the tickets, all of the appointments, whether they were created here or there, and it'll just bill for everything on all the tickets together in one invoice. So there's a couple more straggling things on the record that I wanted to show you. Let's say that Nikki left this house, but the system is still there. Somebody else took it over. You guys might be familiar with the fact that you can come to another customer. So let's say Eva moved into Nikki's old house, and she's going to be taking over the system. You can highlight sites on Eva's and say copy site from another customer. And then you can enter in Nikki's number there, her customer number, 47895. And it'll pull up her information and it'll let you copy her site from her customer to the new one. When you do that, if you notice down here, you get the option to copy the system from that site as well. And if you copy the system, you get the option to copy the inspection. And when it says terminate inspection, that means terminate the old ones on Nikki's account. So you can terminate Nikki's inspection and create it brand new on Eva's automatically when you copy it over. The only other thing is that when you come in here to an inspection record, if you need to, you don't need this inspection record anymore, you want to get rid of it, you can always hit terminate, and then it'll still be there for your reference, but it pops up in red and it says terminated. Oh, and I wanted to show you guys some things that change on the record. So you'll notice now our next inspection date, this one we just canceled, but you'll notice this next inspection date shows 7/1 because we had these set to update when the ticket was created. So because we had our next inspection date to update when the ticket was created and we created the tickets, it is now showing as 7/1. So now if I went in and I tried to create these tickets for 7/1, I could do that. All righty, Sam, if you want to take back over, that's just about it. I think we're ready for questions.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Jessalyn. That was wonderful. So I'm just going to start reading down the line here. It looks like we have a decent amount of questions, probably 10, a little more, but our first one is, if the inspection date is June 1st, but the actual day is June 30th, how is it set for the following year, based on setup date or actual date of service?
So we're assuming, I think, that this is an annual inspection, it sounds like, and that the date was the 1st, but you don't actually get to it until the 30th. So when that date advances, it's going to jump to June 1st of the next year. So it doesn't care that you did it on the 30th. It's going to jump to the 1st of the next year. If you want to change that, you always can. You can come into the record and you can edit this date. You can change it to be whatever you need to. So let's say I didn't finish until July or June 30th, and it doesn't make any sense to do another one on July 1st, I can update that to be August 1st. I have seen some customers in the past run into trouble with manually editing those dates. Make sure you don't edit it to a date that's in the past, because if you do that, that inspection record will never generate again.
All right, hopefully that answered your question. And our next one here is there a way for the inspection tickets to auto-generate, or do we need to manually create it?
You do have to manually create it. You do have to, let me pull that back up. You do have to come in here, go to inspections, and here, let me back this out. Hit get inspections and then auto generate them. But the great news is that's if you don't want to be complicated about it, it's a super simple process. You just come in here, pick your due as of date, hit get inspections. You can just check that all box and hit create tickets, and it'll go through and create them all. And if you're not sure when to do that, I mean, you can just have a scheduled time. I don't know how busy this particular customer is, but you can do it on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a daily basis. It takes 2 seconds. Just come in here, hit get inspections, hit the all button, hit create.
Okay, great. Our next one here is, will the next inspection skip a month if an inspection is missed?
No, and that's kind of related to, whoops, I didn't mean to come out entirely. That's kind of related to what I was talking about with this next inspection at field. So let's say you created the June ticket, but you never actually did the June inspection and just kind of there, and now it's July and you did it in July. When you go through and you close out that ticket, it's still going to want to do July. So you're going to want to make sure to come in here and update that to August or whatever you need it to be.
Okay, great. Next one here, what are the advantages and disadvantages to linking the RMR to the inspection ticket?
Yeah, so it's actually a lot simpler than a lot of people think. The only thing it does is it stops the RMR from billing out until the inspection is done. So if you go to create your cycle billing and you create the cycle for everybody, well, you know what? Let me show you. That's even better. See right here, you get this option. All RMR, only inspection linked RMR, only non-inspection linked RMR. So the idea is you come out here and you do only inspection linked only non-inspection linked, and you pull everything that's not linked to inspections, you bill that out because the inspection stuff needs to wait until those inspections are done. So it helps you, as I said earlier, it helps you make it so that you only have one bill. So if you have a monthly inspection but also a monthly monitoring, then you don't want to send them 2 separate bills that month. It helps you send it only in one bill. Or it could actually represent your charge for that inspection. I do know some companies that rather than having the recurring represent their monitoring, they have it represent their inspection charges. So in that case, that would be another benefit. I think the only drawback is you have to run cycle billing twice.
All right, next question here. I have some inspections that are estimated time are 2.5 hours, but the estimated hours only allows a whole number. Is there a setting somewhere that I can change that will allow either minutes or partial hours?
No, unfortunately there is not. That would have to be an enhancement request.
Okay. Can you add multiple? Something?
Multiple what?
Multiple, no, nothing there. Hang on. There's a follow-up. Multiple items and amounts.
Oh, you mean down here. Now, there's only one here, but there are a couple different ways that you could get kind of what I think the asker of the question is looking for. So if you needed more than one, I would recommend using the service level actually, because on the service level, oh, I got to close out of here. So you put one there. You put one on the inspection record there. And then on the service level, you have this trip charge section. So you can add up to 2 more charges that just auto default on the ticket if you want to. So if you had, it's up to 3, obviously. You could add 2 more here, whatever charges you wanted. And typically we say, don't use these because you're already billing for it in, either in the charge on the inspection record or you're billing time and material. So we say, don't use these ones. But if you wanted to have multiple lines of just static rates that you charged every time, you could do up to 3 by using this section. I don't know, you wouldn't pick sales tax. Whatever you would pick here. Sure. And then that's exactly what these trip charges are for. They pop up the same, and they are used for regular service tickets as well. You can use those on any type of ticket.
Okay, awesome. Next question, will the special instructions under inspection items show up under FSU, or do you have to print it out? Or do you have to print only?
You have to print only. They don't show up on the FSU.
All right. Can you import equipment lists if you have inspections for new customers that you did not build out originally?
So it doesn't have to do with the inspection record, but I think what they're asking is, so let's say this were blank. We didn't have any equipment here, and you wanted to add the equipment there so that you could list it on the inspection. You can add equipment to a customer anytime. You just right click and hit new equipment, and then you can add, whatever your part code is. You can add it, how many there are. All this other information is just for reference. It doesn't connect to anything in the system, but you can reference it there and save. I think I already have this part on there. But the great part about this is it doesn't affect your inventory at all. So it's exactly for scenarios like what you're describing, where you need to get these parts on the customer, but they were already there. You're not selling them brand new right now. You just want to record that the customer has them.
Okay. Next, we have kind of more of a statement, but perhaps you can clarify. We must not be running the same version as you because the pop-up box does not appear when we select the inspections we want to create tickets on. Any thoughts on that one?
So I think what they're referring to is here they selected a few, and when they hit create tickets, this didn't pop up. I've done a lot of support on inspections, and I've never seen that particular issue happen before. So as long as you've checked the boxes over here, and then you hit create tickets, you should get this box. And if you're not doing that, I would definitely say either contact Sam or contact our support at SedonaOffice.com, and we'll look into why that's not working for you.
Perfect. Next we have, when you copy a site or system from the existing customer, does that include the equipment?
I think equipment's one of your choices. If it's not one of your choices, it comes over automatically. Where was I? I was on EVA. So let's pull up EVA again. I know it does come over. I'm just double checking to see if it comes over automatically or if you have to choose that. Nope, it comes over automatically. So you do have to copy the system though. So if you do not do this, it won't come over, but if you copy the system, it will.
Okay, perfect. Is there, are there additional charges to add group ticketing to Sedona?
No, there's not. We have to turn it on, but there's not a fee for it.
Okay. How do you duplicate a ticket? How do you delete a duplicate ticket?
Delete a duplicate ticket. Okay, so you created an inspection ticket, but you didn't mean to. In that case, I would say just close out the ticket. There's no real way to delete one ticket overall, but I would just resolve it as non-billable and then just close the ticket out.
Okay. Does terminate only delete the ticket?
So if you're referring to
Under
when
charges.
we went in here and we hit the terminate button, this only terminates the record. So it doesn't have anything to do with the inspection tickets that are already in existence. So if you terminate it, it'll stop future tickets, but the existing tickets are still out there. They haven't been gotten rid of. They're still there for you to handle. If you still need them, you can finish them up. If you don't need them anymore, you can close them out like I just talked about a few minutes ago.
Okay, perfect. How does the scheduled ticket affect the next inspection date?
Okay, so this is again the next inspection date and the next inspection at. The only way that scheduling a ticket affects this date is if you have tickets scheduled there. So it could be, if you have any of these other three selected, that scheduling a ticket has no effect on this date. If you have ticket scheduled selected, then when you schedule the ticket, when you add an appointment to the ticket, that's when this date will be updated. So in this case, if this were still June and we created the ticket and we had it set to ticket scheduled, it wouldn't have updated this date yet. It would wait until we put an appointment on the ticket and then it would update it to July 1st.
Okay. What required fields from a job are needed to generate an inspection on a customer level? Is it for prepaid only?
So I wonder if you mean, so there's nothing to do with jobs, has to do with inspections. Well, let me take that back. You can create inspection records from a job, and that's a good point. Let's go to, I'll create a new job here. I'm not sure that this is what they were referring to, but it's a good thing to show you guys anyway. And I think we need a salesman. Okay, so when you go to create a job, when you're on the work order screen, you get the option here to set up an inspection. So it doesn't matter if you have a new system or if you have an existing system. If we pick our existing system, you can set up the inspection here. So if the question is, which of these fields are required, you don't have to do notes, but I think everything else should be entered. I don't know why that popped in NA, but you should enter everything else in this section. And then when this job closes out, which I don't want to run through an entire job here with you guys, but when it closes out, it'll show here with the rest of your inspections. So I'm not
great.
sure if that was if that's what they were asking, but if that didn't answer your question, you know, again, just contact Sam or support and we'll make sure you get your answer.
Okay, next one here. I've noticed some of our inspections do not pull the correct next inspection date. For example, I have an inspection set up annually that says the last inspection was 10/18/16, which matches up to the inspection ticket for last year. But in the next inspection, it says 9/2/17. Why does it not pull a date from the year when the work was last done?
Okay, so they said the original was from August 1st, and then the new one is from September 2nd?
No, the last inspection was 10/18/16, and then the next one was 9/2/17.
Oh, I see. Okay, so in this case, I would say that one or other of those dates has been manually edited. So all the system does when it calculates the next inspection date is it just takes your last date and it adds on however much your period is and pulls up the new one. So if your date is a little bit different, it sounds like someone has gone in there and edited either the last inspection date or the next inspection date. You can edit these fields at any time. And sometimes you need to, like we talked about earlier, if an inspection is missed, somebody might come in here and change that. And I actually see this question a lot because what users will do is they'll see, let's say that the next inspection date was June 1st, but we were late doing it. And so somebody goes in and they change that date and they say, oh, wait a second, the appointment that we did it for was actually June 20th or something like that, and they'll change that date. That's not bad to do as long as that's what you meant to do. So I would just be careful of that moving forward because you know, depending on when you need that next date to pop up, if you change it, it's going to change when the next date generates. So just be mindful of that when you're editing these dates.
Okay, and do these charges show up on the ticket under other items?
Yes. These charges right here, absolutely. So if you link it to a recurring, I'm not sure if that was the question, but if you link it to recurring doesn't show on the ticket at all. But if you put the charge right here, yes, it shows up under other.
Okay. Next one, is there a copy-paste feature for inspections within the same customer? For example, a college campus where I want to make an annual fire alarm inspection for every site under that same customer number?
Ooh, no, there is not. That sounds like a good idea, though.
All right, next one. How can we auto-populate billing if we have 1 fire alarm, 3 wet sprinkler, 3 dry systems, and 2 backflow inspections on the same trip, instead of having to enter other items every year?
So do you have multiple inspections set up for these? So if you have a different inspection record set up for each of those, then all you have to do is when you create it, go into the inspection item and enter how much it's worth. And in this case, I think this is a great time to use the grouping. You could group all of those together so that even though they create different tickets, they all get billed as one. And then every amount, you enter your amounts for each one of them, and then when you create the invoice, they all pop up on one invoice.
Okay, next question, can the tech import an inspection checklist in FSU?
Import an inspection list. I'm going to go with no. I'm not positive what they mean by that. The technician can upload any kind of document they want. They can add any kind of document they want and it'll show up here. If what you're asking for is something more complicated with that, it's not likely that it's possible. But you could, if you wanted to know for certain, go ahead and contact us, explain a little bit more about what you mean.
Mm-hmm. Also, can we import an inspection checklist in the report section?
If you already have it, if they have that document on their FSUs, they can do it to either section. They can import it as a report, they can import it as a document. So if you just mean if they already have that document and they're going to upload it, can they upload it? They absolutely can. They can upload it as a report, they can upload it as a document. Either way, they can definitely get it on that ticket.
Okay, perfect. Couple more here. Is there a way within the RMR link to have batteries, other items, etc. added to the service ticket to be billed on one invoice?
So the whole point of the RMR link is that it's all billed on one invoice. So obviously the recurring itself doesn't show on the ticket, but what you can do, and this is not special to group tickets, it's not special to those either. It's not special to inspection tickets either. You can do this on any ticket, even just a regular ticket, you can do this. I don't have one prepared for you, so we're gonna hope that one of these has the button. Now let's go out to, I'm gonna switch it from looking at just inspection to looking at all. And we'll take a shot in the dark here. I don't want to waste everyone's time by continuing to look for one, but you'll notice down here there's a section that says bill to cycle. It says next cycle date. This, if I resolve this as billable, there we go. I get this add to next cycle button. So if you wanted to bill it all on one invoice, what I'd recommend doing is tie it to a recurring line and then have your charges come through on the ticket however you want that to happen, whether you want it to be time and material or you want it to be that other item, that standard amount, either way, however you want it. And then when you go to bill, rather than hitting create invoice, hit add to next cycle instead. And what that does is any charges that are on this, whether they be parts, labor, other, doesn't matter, it all gets added to their cycle billing rather than being a separate invoice. And you can do that on regular service tickets as well.
What type of files could be uploaded as reports/documents, PDF, Word, etc.?
Yep, all that. I haven't
all
found
a
file type yet that's defeated us.
Okay.
So anything you want, throw it up there.
All right, 3 more here. So pressing the create inspection ticket doesn't have the pop-up box appear, but looking in SedonaOffice, the ticket has been created. That's an issue with our software then?
Yeah, it sounds like there's a problem going on with your version. So go ahead, put a ticket in or email Sam and we'll look at that with you.
Perfect, all right. Is general documents module needed to use the report templates feature?
Yep, absolutely. You do have to have Sedona Docs to use reports.
All right, last one. The group number is grayed out and I can't add one. How do I get that set up?
It might be because you don't have any other inspections on that record. I haven't seen it be grayed out before, but I imagine that might be the case. If you only had one, then there would be nothing else to add to the group. But I can test that for you. Go ahead, email Sam, and I'll look into that and get back with you on it.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for attending this webinar on inspections. Jesslyn, you did a wonderful job. As I said before, we'll have the PowerPoint and the webinar posted within 2 business days. And I hope everyone has a lovely rest of their Thursday. All right, bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.